Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, guys. My name is Jakat Zaman. Hope you guys are having a fantastic time. Right. So, Friday again. And as you guys know, let me just go on Instagram. As you guys know, Friday, we have a live stream going on. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, Instagram people. So, I normally give you updates of what's happening, the latest, and drink some tea with you guys as well. I hope you guys are also enjoying this. وعليكم السلام مسير علي أهلا وسهلا أهلا وسهلا أهلا وسهلا. You كيف حالك؟ I am بخير. Thank you very much. شكرا. Masir Ali, my brother from America. Be good. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. Be good, my brother. Be good. Hope you're well. Enjoying yourself. Today is a freezing day. This week has actually been very, very cold in the UK. So temperature has been today almost, well, in the morning it was below zero, but now it's about 3 degrees Celsius. And yesterday at night time was about -2 degrees Celsius. That's below freezing point basically. So things freeze outside. And as you can see, I'm wrapped up, fully wrapped here, because I don't want any cold to get to my bones. So I wrap up fully. I don't know what you guys do when it's cold, but I have the heating on and I'm wrapped up because it's too crazy. Wa alaikum assalam. Ahlan wa sahlan. Muhammad, ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, my brother. Welcome. Welcome. I hope you're well. Enjoying your nice Jum'ah Friday Jum'ah. So yeah, today was Jum'ah. Today I did Jum'ah in the mosque that I was supposed to do it last week. So remember I told you guys last week I was supposed to do it in. Actually, there is a link. I think there is a link where you can watch my Jum'ah. Let me see. Let me see if there's a link. Let's see. So normally they live stream the Jum'ah on YouTube. The mosque I do it. So I'm gonna have to find it. Can't find it yet. But yeah, they live stream it. So I did Jum'ah today, and then and that's it. I went to visit my parents and came back home, and I just been resting a bit, and then I thought I'd do live stream, and then after that I'd do some work. So this is Friday. On Fridays, as you guys know, I try to answer some of your questions that you guys might have and catch up with the latest of what's happening. I don't know if you guys have been watching the football. Yeah, so apparently there's a lot of positive comments that the tourists are giving about Qatar. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Yeah, I'm surprised people haven't been to Qatar. Qatar is a small place. I haven't been to Qatar, but I've got friends from Qatar. When I was studying, there were students there, and they were like crazy. Qatar people like some crazy next level. They do some next level stuff. Yeah, and they actually used to study Hifz. I remember the students were about, I think when I was there, they weren't in our madrasa, they were in another madrasa called Shadadpur. Shadadpur was a madrasa that was about 5 or 6 hours away from our madrasa by car, 5 or 6 hours away. So it's very, very far. And it's in the middle of Sindh, right? Sindh is generally very arid, dry place. And I remember the first time I went there. It's nice. I mean, the hot weather, all that, but there's not much to do there. First time I went there, there was a Tunisian students that studied there. I went there, met them, and had a what do you call it? Had a Tunisian food. That's the first time I had couscous and fish. We had, yeah, that was what they had. They made that, and it was really nice. And anyway, I met the Qatar students over there. There was about 4 or 5 of them, and they used to actually have their food imported from Qatar. Like that's how sort of like specific they were about their food. So their food was shipped in, and they had their own cook that would cook whatever they wanted. And because they were quite well off, generally they're quite well off, so they were used to back home. They were used to air conditioning and servants and all that. So they were there. They were doing hifz of Quran, and when they would come to Karachi, they would like do some mad stuff, like middle of the night. Let's have some food. You're thinking, where are you gonna go now? And they like drive like hours just to get some food from a place. So that was that mad stuff. But yeah, they were good. Generally, they were good character. They had good akhlaq. Right, I'm almost done with Usul Fiqh review. Ahlan wa sahlan, mashallah, mashallah. How are you finding it so far? Do the grave dwellers know who those who visit them, and can we ask them for du'as? What is your opinion? So, do the grave dwellers know? So, some narrations indicate that they can sense when someone approaches their grave. Like they can sense, but they can't tell. It's not like they have like a 4K TV there, and they can tell who's coming. So they can sense the presence of someone. So it kind of gives them some peace when Quran is recited there, or that's what some of the narrations indicate. And as for, you can ask them for dua. This is where it comes into istighatha. That's what istighatha basically is. Where can you ask the people in the grave? Like they're in a different realm, aren't they? They're in a different realm, like a different dimension, you can say. Can you ask them to make dua to Allah for you? So some of the scholars say yes, some of the scholars say no. That should be avoided. Not as crazy as Qatar al-Nada. Qatar al-Nada, have you started it? Shut up, Qatar al-Nada. Or is that some sort of innuendo? Wasim, alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan, my beloved Wasim. How are you? Amina, alaikum assalam. Why would they come to Pakistan to study? Were they Hanafis? No, they come to study Hifz, because you'd be surprised, Arab countries hardly have any Hifz programs like Pakistan does. India subcontinent has very good Hifz programs. So they come there to study. Mufti Sahib, Sheikh Abdul Rahman Kattani passed away, I heard. I wasn't very familiar with the Sheikh, but I heard he was very old and he had sanads, like some very high sanads. May Allah give him Jannah. Have you heard of Nahu Tatbiqi? Yes, I've heard of that. About 600 pages with examples from Quran and Hadith mentions some really beneficial points where students can tend to get many mistakes. Yeah, I've heard of it, but I haven't had a chance to buy it. So hopefully, inshallah, I'll buy it. I'll check it out. Have you read through it, or is there any way that I can actually get a copy of it? He had the shortest chain to Bukhari, only 18 links between him and the author. Subhanallah. I reviewed Mabadi al-Usul and some outside readings. It was pretty good. It became easier. Alhamdulillah, it's a joke. I said it parts of I never completed. Oh, no wonder Qatar Nada is crazy. All right. So yeah, there was a lot of these sheikhs that unfortunately when they pass away, many people just become familiar with them like later on. Yeah, so many people begin to know them unfortunately at a later stage. So that's the sad reality of a lot of these scholars. We're not familiar with them until they go, and then we can't benefit. I mean, I don't know if I would have benefited from the sheikh, but it's just something to know that there are these people out there. What do you guys say? Wa alaikum assalam, Harun, ahlan wa sahlan. Does qada salat take precedence over voluntary tahajjud prayer? Yes and no. So yes, in the sense, yes, you should, but if you have too many, then I would say you should spread them out. So like if you've got like several years of qada prayer to make up and you're not going to pray any nafil prayer, then that's also something which shouldn't be given too much priority. So you do your qada slowly, and then you also do your nawafil as well, so you don't become deprived of the virtues of nawafil. Do you have a cat? Not yet. Yeah, the other cat, Catty has left. I left it at my mom's house, but inshallah, I hope maybe next year I might get to 2023 might be the year of the cat year. Liaquat cat. That's it. أهلا وسهلا. Muhammad Umar Al-Hambali, ahla wa sahla wa alaikum assalam. Could you please bring Qatar Nada on YouTube, please? Inshallah, when I finish all of it. Inshallah, when I finish all of it, I don't know when that's going to happen, but hopefully, inshallah, I'll bring it there. Right. Harun, could you check your email, please? Inshallah, I'll have a check after the live stream. Yeah, that's the depressing thing. I wish I knew about these ulama before they passed away. Like if there was some type of email, yeah, maybe. Actually, you know what? See, that is a new project that you need to start an global ulama recognition. GUR, global ulama recognition. Start some sort of like a documentary, or start some sort of organization that keeps check of all the ulama, and that'd be very good. Excellent. I was very disappointed with the author of English Tafsir, Ibn Kathir. he or she totally omitted the discussion. The discussion. Discussion Ibn Kathir had in Surah Room. You cannot make the dead hear. Ah, I see. Yeah. So who was the author, the translator? Redzilla, wa alaikum assalam, ahla wa sahla, looking good, thank you very much, and I'm sure you're looking good too, my brother. I hope you're well. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Ahlan wa sahla, and welcome, people of Instagram. Yeah, so sometimes, unfortunately, translations, are filled with a lot of mistakes, typos, deliberately missing things out, sadly. I think Dar Makkah are selling it for £15. I read through a few chapters, very simple and easy to understand. Alhamdulillah. Okay, I'll probably pop in there maybe next few days. Check it out. Thanks, Jazakallah khair. Irfan Suhail, alaikum assalam. Is it okay to say Rabbi hab li min salihin? Or what's the best way to do if you already have children and want to ask for more? Yes, that is fine. Habli min salihin is fine. You can say that. That is totally fine. Best dua for children. This is a very good dua for children. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. This is also another good dua to read as well. Actually, being on Twitter though can help learn about these people. Yeah, but there needs to be something more structured, I think. Something more centralized. He said that the verse would say that Aisha used to refute the opinion of Ibn Umar about the dead hearing. After the author wrote this, he moved on. Interesting. Oh, interesting. I wonder what the reason behind that. Do they not lay as much emphasis on hifz, or do we? The structure of hifz in Pakistan and Indian subcontinent generally is much more organized. Yeah. Usually, the people that teach hifz in Arab countries, from what I've heard, is a lot of them are Indian subcontinent teachers anyway. And unfortunately, a lot of these Arab countries, they don't have that much emphasis on Islamic studies. Like, you'd be surprised. I've got friends in Saudi and other places, and they'll say a lot of the locals don't even get that much exposure to Islamic studies as children in the West do. So children in the West in the maktab system probably get more. But he omitted the whole discussion because he had, as the very next line said, the correct opinion according to the scholars is the opinion of Ibn Umar. I see. And then Ibn Kathir went on to have a pretty long discussion about it. Yeah, so unfortunately that's what happens with these translations. So you just gotta be careful. Masir Ali, bring the cat back and show him us on. Yeah, I need to. The cat won't come. I'm gonna have to get a new cat. I have to get. Actually, imagine I had a lion. Remember when I was young, I used to wish, I wish I had a lion cub or a tiger cub. They're so cute and nice and they're playful. But then you don't realize when they grow up, they'll probably eat you. So get a nice cat. Right. And then I might also go for a cat in 2023. That's it, bro. 2023 is going to be the year of the cat. We all have to go for cats. Alaikum assalam, Muhammad Wasim. Please start a series on etymology of Quranic words. Inshallah. I have a series which I did start and then I stopped. So you can check that series out. It's called Words in Depth. Real Drama. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Masir Ali, ahlan wa sahlan. If I get that type of influence, I'll force them to teach me. Yeah, that's it, bro. That's it. Allahu Akbar. Yeah, so that's been my week, guys. Just cold, freezing. Unfortunately, in the cold, I get my arthritis pain. So, like this past few days, I've been just drinking loads of turmeric, so a lot of turmeric, and just trying to keep warm. Yeah, so I wear loads of layers, lots of layers. I wear, have the heating on as well, and just stay warm. That's the main thing, staying warm. What's the temperature where you guys are? If you guys in the UK, your temperature is probably going to be around about 0. But in my garden, it's actually, there's ice on the floor. There's ice on some branches. Yeah. So next door neighbor's got loads. they don't even clean their garden. So that's what happens. المتنبي إذا رأيت نيوب الليث بارزة فلا تظنن أن الليث يبتسم. Allah. But my layth will actually يبتسم, because mine's going to be a good layth. Okay, it's not going to be like a messed up layth. Yeah, so my one's going to be proper Nick Saleh. Are you aware of Mufti Tariq Masood? Yes, I've heard of him. I have benefited tremendously through his talks. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. I've heard of him. I've watched some of his clips. He's very eloquent. I think he appeals to a lot of the youth, the way that he speaks and his sort of like humor as well. I had a couple of questions about the quote that was shared on Facebook. Okay, go on. Number one, what is an example of the third type, interpretation that only scholars know? So interpretation that only scholars would know. So the quote was, let me find the quote. Let me see what the quote is. And then let me tell you. Let me tell you what it is. Okay, let's see. What's the quote? Quote kya hai? No quote. All right, so okay, so this is أخرج الطبري بعدة أسانيد إلى ابن عباس قال التفسير على أربعة أوجه. Tafsir, interpretation of the Quran, is of four kinds. A kind that the Arabs recognize on the basis of their native speech. Number two, interpretation that no one can be excused for not knowing. Number three, interpretation that the scholars alone know. So interpretation the scholars alone know is, for example, like certain rulings which are a bit nuanced that require further elaboration from the hadith as well. Yeah, so for example, like riba. So for example, the Quran mentions the prohibition of riba, but doesn't give the details of what is riba. What scenarios fall under riba, what scenarios don't fall under riba. Or for example, like issues with regards to certain type of food that are halal and certain type of food that are not halal. So things like, for example, let's say there's an animal or a sea creature that's an octopus. Is that allowed? So the Quran doesn't delve in it. It requires like certain understanding. So that's why the Quran says, like the Quran says, that وَالرَّاسِخُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ, those people who have a deep understanding, يَقُولُونَ آمَنَّا, they say we believe in Allah. As in, they accept what it means, they have the deep understanding. And for the layperson, it's difficult for them to imagine it like for example, certain nuanced issues that someone raises on social media, and only an expert in that field, like a doctor or a dentist or an engineer, would only fully be able to explain to you what it's meant. You might just grasp 10% of it, 20% of it, like that. Yeah, so if you go to a lot of the rulings in Surah Ma'idah, they might fall under that. Like for example, the Quran mentions about something to do with tawaf, but then details of tawaf, that's the thing that the scholars will know. So it's generally to do with ahkam. You can, in a nutshell, basically. Number two, what is an example of the last type other than al-huruf al-muqatta'at? So the last type is an interpretation that only God knows. So something that only God knows is, for example, like the number of prophets that came, like Allah says in the Quran. Yeah, minhum man qasasna alayka wa minhum man lam naqsus alayk. So how many prophets came in the past? We don't know. What was the age of Adam alayhi salam when he died? We don't know. Yeah. What was the age of Ibrahim alayhi salam when he died? We don't know. Yeah, so those kind of things, and also like things to do with certain mutashabihat. The Quran mentions mutashabihat. Yeah, so the mutashabihat, for example, when Allah mentions about istawa al arsh, yeah, yadullahi fawqa aydihim, these kind of ayats, only Allah truly knows what they really mean, right? And that's fine, because we believe in them. We don't need to delve into their, like, what does it mean that Allah is first, the first and the last? What does that exactly mean? We don't know the reality of that. Are we as non-Arab laymen only obliged to follow what we can understand? So and basically ask scholars. The Quran says you ask scholars. That's what the layperson does. How do we then reconcile this with the fact that the Quran is a book of guidance for all? So the Quran being a book of guidance for all does not mean that anyone who reads the Quran will be able to understand every single aspect of Islam. Guidance simply means it'll bring you to Allah. That's what it means. Like if you read it, it will guide you to Allah. And the main aspects of the faith will be clear to you. Right? So the main aspects are you worship Allah, nikah, marriage, divorce, and all these things are very sort of like laid out, very easy to understand. But the Quran at the same time says that rasikhuna fil ilm, those people who are firmly established in knowledge, the ulama, the ahl al-dhikr, right? So it gives all these people who are experts for you to ask them. That's basically so. It's like someone saying, um, you know, uh, if a non-Muslim became Muslim tomorrow and read the whole Quran, would he understand Islam A to Z? No, he wouldn't. He would understand enough Islam for him to get guidance, right? To be on the right path. That's it. And then the rest of the details he'll be able to follow. We ask scholars. Danladi, alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan, my brother, ahlan wa sahlan, benefit from your channel. Thank you very much. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you. Sheikh, are you attached to any tariqah? I mean tasawwuf? No, I'm not attached to any specific, like I'm not adhering to any specific tariqah. I just try to listen to mashayikh, scholars, take their advice, consult with them. Zainab, my daughter is asking if you can make dua for her as she is doing hifz. May Allah, Ya Allah, put barakah in the time of Zainab and her daughter, in the hifz, in her mal, in her siha, and make her a person who you're proud of. لا تحقرن صغيرا في مخاصمة إن البعوضة تدمي مقلة الأسد. Allah. So the ba'uda is stronger than the asad. لا تحقرن صغيرا. Do not belittle any small thing في مخاصمة in an argument. إن البعوضة, for indeed the mosquito, تدمي, it makes bleed مقلة الأسد, the eyes of a lion. You explain here. Would you then recommend people to read the translation of the Quran on their own? Yes, I would definitely tell people to read the Quran translation, and if they have any questions, for them to ask. Never come to a conclusion on something on your own. Just always make sure you get it checked out with someone. Sorry, this is a loaded question, but how do we approach the hadith of 76? I've always assumed most Muslim Ahl Sunnah Jama'ah belong to the safe sex. So this hadith is from a sanad point of view, is problematic. This is why um, the scholars have discussed this hadith. So don't worry about this hadith. The main thing is those people who are trying their best to adhere to the ways of the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba is considered to be the group which is going to be successful. That's the idea, that is. Right. So to identify who are the 73 sects, this isn't something that anyone needs to do. So it's never mentioned by the Sahaba. They try to find out which sect they belong to. So this is why a lot of scholars have criticized the hadith. So basically, the hadith is not as categorical as it's been made out. There's some problems in some versions of the wording. The way a mathematician looks at maths books differs between higher school and undergrad. Excellent. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go pray Maghrib, and then inshallah I'm gonna continue. So I'll be back in about 10-15 minutes. Okay, so don't go away. Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, guys, back after the Maghrib Salat. Right, so let's put this up. So, where do we stop? What else can graduates from madrasas do besides just teach and serve as an imam? I mean, what other roles are there to play? So, basically, when it comes to imams, what is the whole point purpose of imam? The whole purpose of an imam, or not an imam, rather, an alim, a scholar, is for them to become people who can answer people's questions, guide them, preserve knowledge. Yeah, that is the main sort of like theme that the scholar has, is to preserve knowledge. That's the main thing. But then they can preserve the knowledge in the form of teaching it to people. They can preserve the knowledge in the form of writing books. They can preserve the knowledge in the form of advising consultancy, advising other people, so that they stay on track on the Islamic, according to Islamic principles. So there's lots of, I mean, there's lots of jobs that a person can do. So, for example, I mean, from our graduates, there are people who have graduated to become imams. Some of them have become teachers, whether it's teaching kids or whether it's teaching alim courses. Some of them have graduated and done further studies. So they've gone and studied like takhassus, iftars. Some of them have gone and brushed up on their sciences. Some of them have gone into translation, editing work, book editing. Um, some of them have gone and just gone to normal jobs. Um, so the thing is, there isn't a specific job that the imam is designed for. It's about anything in which his role as an imam, or the knowledge that he has, is going to have an impact on the community, right? So it's going to benefit the community. Uh, right. So yeah, that's basically what the answer is. Okay, let me just check my email. I think Arun was saying he's left the email. Uh, okay, Harun has an email. Okay, in my workplace, they are doing a Christmas thing called Secret Santa, where you would enter a draw, randomly pick a co-worker, and then you would give gift that person would have three wish lists that they would like Christmas. You would have to give, and you would also make three wish lists that you and other person. Would entering this be permissible, even though it may cause a bit embarrassment, as I would be odd one out if I opt out? The one issue is that three wish lists could be. So I mean, see, the giving a gift to a non-Muslim is fine, but then in the sense that giving them the gift, where that gift is considered to be something that's deliberately or directly associated to a Christian festival, should be avoided. This is the general thing. Maybe you give the gift after, maybe you give it. But the problem here is, obviously, there's a possibility that the person will get embarrassed at work, and it's going to cause them problems for that job. In that case, maybe giving a gift would be okay, but then if it requires buying something haram, then that would not be allowed. Right. So clearly, buying something haram would not be allowed. Yeah. So possibly giving a gift would be okay in this situation, but not buying haram. Absolutely. But buying haram is not allowed. Okay, question two. What if I intended to give charity by cash, but I changed my mind, but I went with different way of charity, same amount. Initially, I intended to give, but a few days later, his mum is doing a cake sale. Uh, yes, that's allowed. Yeah. So basically, you can change your intention of, because sadaqah is a gift, and it only becomes like binding when you give it to the person. Yes. That's fine. Right. Okay. Are there Islamic schools that teach science and deen to a high level, i.e., studying Dars in Nizami as well as giving out degrees in STEM and liberal arts? In the UK, I don't think so. I don't think anyone in the UK, because I think for some reason, like I think there was in around near Nuneaton, there was Jamiat al Karam. I think they had something similar, but then Ofsted came in and just closed down all of the Alamiya course, unfortunately. So the problem is with the Ofsted system here. So it's very difficult to be able to come up with accredited. Sufa has something in place which is basically Alamiya course, and then in the last 2 years you can actually simultaneously also do a 2-year bachelor's in Islamic sciences. But there isn't something which is solid that you can have. I think simply just because the way that the Ofsted government works with these schools. But I think it would be good if you can have something solid of our own, definitely. If they request alcohol, maybe replace it with sparkling non-alcoholic drinks. Ah, yeah. It's like there's a lot of non-alcoholic beers coming out now. So it's starting to become a craze now. So maybe again that. Is it okay to pray salah on an uneven surface, meaning prayer on ground which is at a slant? Yes, totally fine. Or even on grass where the ground is bumpy? Yes, you can do it. If one owns properties that he has rented out to others as a means of income, how is zakat calculated regarding those rental income? So you don't have to work out the zakat on them. It's just whatever income that you make. If you have it on your zakat date, you got to give zakat on it, and if you spent it, then there's no zakat on it. I'll actually explain this in my crash course to zakat. So my crash course, zakat crash course. Let me see if I can find it. I actually explain this over there. Crash course of zakat. Where is it? I need to do some more crash courses, Need to really get the crash courses ball rolling. I'm gonna hopefully, inshallah, start my Kanz again, guys. I was thinking about it because I'm actually teaching Hidayah at the moment, and I'm going through those chapters. So because it's fresh in my head, I thought, I'll just restart the. Maybe I should do one crash course on festivals, non-Muslim festivals. That might be a good one. If parents do not do a good tarbiyah of their kids from an Islamic point of view, would they get a share of every sin that a child does? Not necessarily. I mean, they won't get a sin because no person is held responsible for another person's actions, but they will be held responsible for not bringing them properly. If they taught them something that was bad, so if they taught the children a bad practice like lying or something else, and the child has picked it up from them, then potentially there might be like that issue where a person gets sin for that, whether it's parents or someone else. But parents won't necessarily get a share of the sins of every sin that they commit, because the Quran says, "No soul burdens the bears the burden of another soul." Every salah he misses, every time he drinks, etc. No. Can you pray salah upside down if someone has gravity boots and gravity boots? I think you're watching too much Star Trek, bro. Yeah, cut down the Star Trek. I've watched that one as well. And they get stuck on the ceiling. Is that fine, hypothetically? So technically, the issue is that they're not connected to the earth, are they? So if a person not connected to earth, is their salat done or not? So this is where there's an ikhtilaf between like early scholars, whether salat is permissible airborne. So I would say yes, it would be permissible because it's the idea is to be able to have your feet firmly fixed somewhere. What would you say about the slant floor? The sajda place cannot be higher than the half a hand with. Yeah, so they say basically dukan is they say they have an ikhtilaf of what a dukan means. Yeah, the position. So Ibn Abidin mentions about Ibn Sahib al-Hidayah mentions this one, that if the place of doing sajda is higher than, and they mention a yard. Okay, if someone has an Amazon account and they share it with others who buy un-Islamic stuff on there, will that person know? The person won't get sin. Yeah, won't get sin for it. Yeah, because they are simply just giving them access to something which they can use for good or bad. It's like, for example, you gave someone a knife to use for good or bad, and they've used it for bad. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Looking very cool. Yeah, I'm looking very hot, my brother. Yeah, I'm proper wrapped up here. Wanted to know if you will be doing part-time Alimiya course online or current full-time. No, I won't be teaching that. that full-time Alimiya. So Asufa Institute is going to be starting in January. Full-time Alimiya, which is going to run Monday to Friday, 3 hours a day, 6:30 to 9:30. So, this is for those people who can't commit coming long distance or something like that. So yeah, I mean, I won't be teaching it, but there's going to be, alhamdulillah, other teachers that will be teaching it. How to build library and grow your library? Just buy books. That's the step number one. Buy books. Masir Ali Salat al Ma'kus. Salat al Ma'kus. I like that one. Adam Ahmed R. Wa alaikum assalam. How can we dispose of papers that have Allah's name or name Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Is it okay to rip it up? Yes. So throwing it away, cutting it up into pieces, meaning make sure that the name is not, or even burning out the name, or even burning the papers, that would be okay as well. Like Salah on an airplane, right? Yes, that's it, my brother Muhammad. Okay, actually, yeah, I'm supposed to be on Instagram. Oops, I think the Instagram one's dead. Yeah, that died. Is it okay to read namaz at home in the UK due to multiple reasons such as traffic jam? Yes, possibly. Yeah, so traffic jams, not having access to a car, or the distance being quite far, or getting late for work, etc. Looking very cool because the weather cold, not cool. It's cold weather. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Galaxy, please name some of the authentic books of Asma al-Rijal. So there are many Asma al-Rijal books. Like Imam Muslim has a book on Sahaba. Imam Bukhari has Tarikh al-Kabir, Tarikh Saghir. Then you have Ibn Abi Hatim. Then you have after him you have who else is there? And the main one, the biggest compilations that you can have is, beside the Sahaba ones, is Al-Mizzi, Al-Imam Al-Mizzi's Al-Kamal. So Al-Kamal, he wrote the Kamal. I've actually got a video on this. I'll show you my video. So Tahzib Al-Kamal. It's a half an hour video. If you've got time, you can watch it. And so books on Rijal, on men. Books on men. Okay, cool as ice, literally. Assalamu alaikum, Ibn Adam, ahlan wa sahlan. Step 2, buy more books. and get stressed because you can't get books. Will they part-time, few days a week course in the near future? I don't think so. I don't think so. The reason for that is because it will clash. Clearly, it's going to clash with the part-time course going on at the moment. So then numbers are going to drop there. So people will clearly, obviously, opt for the easy option from home. So I don't think they're planning on part-time one. Steps we buy. Where are you from, Rahim? Which part are you from? The UK? Buy even more and feel bad for not reading books. That's the cycle. Masir, it looks like you got a lot of experience in this field. Amina alaikum assalam. Isn't there a hadith to the effect that the parents don't marry their kids off at a young age, that they'll be sinful if the children do zina? If you can find that hadith for me, I can look into it. Yeah, if you can find it. Even though it's not sunnah as in rewarding to wear a jubba and hat, would you say it's counted as libasul taqwa? Not necessarily, no. It depends which part of the world you're in. Yeah, libasul taqwa basically means something which abides by the rules of taqwa, as in it's loose, it's not too tight, etc. So, I mean, if you want to explain libasul taqwa as what certain ulama are wearing, right, which is one interpretation some people take. They say whatever ulama are wearing, but then that means other ulama who don't wear these kind of clothing, or other ulama who wear different types of clothing. Any good home remedies you have for fever and cold? Yes, my brother. What I would suggest is turmeric. Get yourself turmeric and put it into milk. Drink that. Yeah, that's one. If you can get turmeric, the raw stuff, and squeeze it, the juice out of it, put some black pepper in there and take a few spoons of that. That's very good. And warm water with honey in there, with with lemon in there. Yeah, it does wonders as well. Yeah, this is what I usually take when I'm take lots of basically all day. Just keep drinking fluids and make sure you're going toilet as much as you can. You're welcome, Galaxy. Masir, look at your bank account and start wondering why the balance is low. Step one, waiting for step 5. Wa alaikum Sufyan Sahib. Ahlan wa sahlan. Sufyan, I've been waiting for you because I want to try those teas. So inshallah, tomorrow, guys, I'm going to try the teas from Sufyan. The teas are still sealed. I've been waiting, inshallah. I'm going to try the teas, inshallah. Got these new teas, guys. We'll try them out, see what the teas say to me. Sheikh, you should do an intro to main Darsi books and why the author wrote them and what makes them unique, what they are good for. Like Nihaya is a dictionary and is good for unique hadith works. Excellent, good idea. Actually, let me write that down. This is another one of. I need to make a file. Brother Muhammad file. Yeah, Brother Muhammad file. Brother Muhammad file. And put in there. 2 videos on main books for students. I'm still gonna make the series. I'm still listing, for students, like main kind of questions and main kind of obstacles that they might face when studying knowledge, post and pre as well. So inshallah, I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be quite a few videos. What do you think is the most important way to learn Arabic? Quranic Arabic 17 lessons. Yeah, I would say the most important way to learn Arabic is so that you have a goal. You have to have a goal. What's your goal at the end of it? If you just want to learn Arabic for the sake of it, that's not a goal. You'll get burnt out. So you want to have a goal, which is maybe you want to understand a particular surah in Arabic without English. That's your goal. You want to understand Surah Kahf in Arabic, then that is your goal. Excellent. I spent a ridiculous amount of money on books this year. I feel mad guilty because some books I won't be able to touch until a year or two. Allah Akbar. Allah. This is it. This is the money for the sake of Allah. My books, even though some books I haven't even touched yet since I bought them like 20 years ago or 15 years ago. I realize there's gonna come a time where I need that book. And that's the unique thing about books. You'll always usually need, as long as they're relevant books. So if I give that answer to my parents, they're like, "So what have you been doing, studying all these years? Don't even know hadith." That's it. That's what my parents say as well. You went from Mufti Liaquat to Hakim Liaquat. Allah, I've got no knowledge, bro. My brother, I've got no knowledge at all. Yeah, you see these books at the back? Those are empty books. By the way, can you sell green on this side, blue on this side? Yeah. So it's just like slightly changed now. Actually, let me change the color of the light. Right. What about that? Is that okay? That better? That one bit lighty. Should we do a rainbow? All right, rainbow. Rainbow's back, guys. Some words for Shaykhul Islam. Some words for Shaykhul Islam Mufti Taqi. Taqi wrote something on the books done in Darsi Nizami and why we study them. Yeah, I've come across that. That's good. Definitely. I always look back to certain books. There's actually a good book I remember I read when I was in madrasa, like my early years when I was learning how to read Urdu. Mata'i Karawan. Mata'i Karawan. Karwani Mata. Karwani Mata, I think it's called. By Fadl Abbasi. Mullah Fadl Abbasi. And that's a good book. It's got some really good anecdotes in there about studying and about in the past. So I remember there's this incident between Imam Aini and Ibn Hajar about, Ibn Hajar wrote Fathul Bari and Aini wrote Umdat al-Qari, and the back and forth they had with each other. I would look back at certain books I bought a long time ago to gauge my progress. SubhanAllah, a good way to stay motivated. Yeah, definitely. Check your notes as well. See how your notes have developed. Your Arabic has developed over the years. Yeah, that's true. One of my friends gave me some insight. You may feel guilty for buying books, but you'll still be using them in 10 years. Yeah, hopefully, inshallah. There was actually a scholar, I remember in Pakistan, I was there. There was a scholar who had bought loads of books and he hadn't paid for all of them. He was still in the process of paying them off and he died. And his children couldn't pay for them. Right, there were too many. So they had to like give a lot of them back. And in a lot of them, he had made notes. So he would read them and make notes in the book. So unfortunately, sometimes, I remember once there was a scholar who got so fed up of it was one of my teachers, friends. He got so fed up of teaching that he decided to give all of his books away. He gave all of his books away, sold them, I think, and then he was gonna quit teaching and just start his own shop or something. Yeah, that's actually, you'd be surprised how common that happens in Pakistan. Stuff that went over my head is now understandable. Allah, over your head, majaz. Allah, majaz. Mashallah, 95, mashallah, 95K, guys. We have reached 95K and just 5K left. Remember, I told you we were supposed to in November, it was supposed to hit 100K. Apparently, that figure was wrong because that was based upon Ramadan. Right? They were looking at the average of Ramadan and they were basing on that. So now it's saying March time. March time, inshallah, we're going to hit 100,000. He meant Hakim in the meaning of doctor, not knowledgeable. When I found your channel, it had 24K subscribers. Yeah, mashallah, look at that. 24K, and now it's gone up to that. Alhamdulillah. May Allah put barakah in our efforts and work. Sheikh Faraz Rabbani said, unread books are oceans waiting to be explored. And definitely. Unless they filled with mistakes. Then they're pits that are ready to be filled in. Anyway, guys, I am going to finish it there. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day tomorrow, inshallah. Make sure you tune in for the live stream at night time, usual time. I would like to learn about janaza, including rules in the UK. Have you done a video on this, or can you guide me? Yes, I've actually done a video on this. You can check out on my Kuduri. If you go to my Kuduri list and type in janaza, I've explained it over there. So, janaza. Janaza, yeah. So it starts off from part 1, and then you can just follow the rest. Yeah. Janaza. Yeah. مجاز جواز في هذا المقام فإن لكل مقام مقالة. Allah, poet, bro. Ibn Sina's prodigy. Wow. That's it. Just keep saying that in a bayan and in different tones, and people will start saying Subhanallah because they'll think it's some powerful statement. Jazakallah khair. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Masir Ali. Ahlan wa sahlan. All right, guys. Take care, inshallah. And I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.